Hey coders, now we are going to continue our car racing game. In the previous session, we have done our screen ready and also we have done with the coding for the lights and for the backdrop. Now we are going to start the coding for the building. First I am going to select my first building, that is this one. I want to choose this building and here I am going to do the coding for that. What I want for that? I want the building should be move continuously as the track is moving. In this game, when the buildings are moving from the both sides, it's appear like the track is moving continuously. So for that, to show the movement of track, we should do the coding for building. To show the movement of track, we should do the coding for building first. For that, I am going to event block and here I will select when the green flag click. When the green flag click, I want the building should become from the top part. For that, I am going to set its x and y axis. When the flag click, it should start moving from the top. Position, it should be minus 190 and here 180 y axis. So that is the position I want for the building. I want this process run continuously. For that, I am going to choose the forever block and afterwards I want here set when the building reach to till this point, again the building come from the top. It will look like something is moving and the building costume also should change. Then it will look like the track is moving and new buildings are coming one by one. For that, first I am going to set my y-axis. I am going to motion block and here I will set change y by. It should be changed according to the speed get changed, because speed is going to change every second. On the basis of that, y value is also get changed. Then it will move along to the speed. Afterwards, I want the if condition, and in this I want when the building is reached to till this point, it again move back to the same position. For that, I am going to choose the operator block and here I will choose greater than and here I will choose y position, and this y position, if it is greater than minus 135, what should happen? It again should back to the same position, means again go back to the x and y same position. For that, again I am going to motion block and here I will choose x and y axis. Here the same value will type minus 190 and y value 180. This thing should be repeat continuously, but the costume should change. First I will show you how it will work. Like you can see. Isn't it look interesting? Yes. But you can see the costume is not changing. For that, what should I do? I'll go to the look block and here I will select next costume. By the using this block, you can see the new building will come. Let's see. It's working nicely, right? Okay. The same code we are going to do for the second building. Just what we need to do, we'll take the whole coding for the next building. Now you can see the coding coming for the second building as well. The same movement I want for this. And the position is also get fixed. Only y-axis should be changed. It should be in positive side. For that I need to make it positive. And then you will see the result. Oh, doesn't look like car are moving. Actually the building are moving, but it's appear like the cars are driving. Here these hearts should be appear on top. For that, go to the heart block and here we'll choose looks and it should become go to front layer. Yes. Then you will see. It's working fine? Yes. We are going to do the coding for our white strips, which is hidden now. You can see it's up here. I want to do this strip coding also, because when the buildings are moving, it's look like the side tracks are moving. When this strip also moving, it's really appear like the car is driving on the road. For that, I'm going to choose this sprite. I'm going to event block. When the green flag click, first I want to set its position. For that, I'm going to choose, go to x and y axis, and its position should be x0 and y 180, because should come from the center point. and from the top. So that's one is done. Then afterwards, I want this cycle is going to repeat 3 times. For that, I'm going to use control block and repeat actions and type 3, because this line should become continuously. I'm going to use look block here, show. It's going to create its clone. For that, I'm going to use a control block and it's going to create its clone continuously, and then going to hide. I want to add some time control. For that, I'm going to use wait 1 second. So this thing is going to be done after 1 second. Now I want when it's going to start as a clone. When it's going to start as a clone, what should happen? Same thing, the y-axis should be changed as per the speed. For that, I'm going to choose the forever block, and here the speed should be changed as per the y value. For that, I'm going to select motion block, the change y by according to what? According to speed. Same as the building one. As the building also gets changed its speed as per the y-axis change, same thing has happened with this line. Then afterwards, the same condition, if the y value is reached to from plus 180 to minus 180, again the same thing should be repeat. For that, I'm going to operator block. I will choose the equal one. Here I will choose the y position is equal to minus 180. Then what should happen? It should be reached again back to the same position from where it start. For that, I'm going to choose go to x and y. Okay, now you'll see the result. Right? It's moving continuously. Now only the coding for our sports cars are left. So we'll start with a racing car. There are some conditions we want for that, and according to that we'll do the coding for this car. First, whenever if it is hit the opponent car, it should be blink like it's create an accident, and on the basis of that, when it's blink, one life should be reduced. And we want it should be moved by using left and right arrow key at any place on the track. But if it touch this gray line, then also your life should be reduced. So these are the major condition which we use for our racing car. So let's start the coding for that. First, I'm going to choose the event blocks. It should show first, and for that I'm using the show block, and also I'm going to set its position. For that, I'm going to motion block, and I will choose x and y axis, and x axis I want it 0, and the y axis I want it should be minus 120, and you can see, yes, this is the position I want when I start my game. And then afterwards it should be moved to the front layer, because you can see the white strip come over here. I want it should be come to the front position. For that, I'm going to look block, and here I want to select go to the front layer. Now you'll see the white line come downside, right? Great. Now what should I do? I want to use the right and left arrow key, and on the basis of that it should move left and right side. But here if I move the left and right side and it's not moving up here like till the car, it not look so good. For that, I'm going to create some costume for my racing car. I'm going to costume, and here I'm going to duplicate this. Okay, one more time. Okay, now I want to little bit tilt this one at the right side. So for that, change into bitmap and select this one. I'm going to tilt little bit this one. Okay, you can see, yes, it's look nice. Now the same thing, I'm going to this one, and I'll select convert to bitmap, select my car, and here this one I'm going to rotate this side. Yeah, now it's look like it's turning to left side, is turning to right side. This one I will take the right side. I will type right over here, and for this I want left. Okay, it's done. Now we'll do the coding. First, at the normal position, I want it should be on the correct position. For that, I'm going to choose the control block. Here I will choose the forever block, and I will set its look to the not right. I want the normal car. And then afterwards, I'm going to choose the if block. If the condition is what? If I press the right arrow key, it should be tilt to the right side and move 7 steps to the x-axis at the right side. For that, I'm using the sensing block, and here I will choose when the right arrow key press, and what should happen? It's going to change the x-axis. For that I'm going to choose the motion block and here change X by 7. The look also get changed. You can see, switch the costume to the right side. See the result? If I press the right arrow key, it's move like this. With the same coding we are going to do for the left arrow key. So I'm going to duplicate this and I will place it here. Very easy. Then select the left arrow key and make it -7 and then choose the left costume. Now you can see the result. It's moving nicely, right? Okay. Now the same thing we are going to do for up arrow, and we place it over here. Make it little small the size so it will can easy to visible. I'm going to select the up arrow and here not the X value, we need to change the Y value. For that I'm going to select the Y axis and here we are not going to switch any costume. The costume should be the normal one which we have selected and the forever condition. Here I will put the 7 and the same block I'm going to duplicate again and I will place it over here. Do the little change, down arrow, and this value should be in negative. Done. Now all the keys will work, up arrow, down arrow, left arrow and the right arrow. Now I want whenever my racer car if touched to the yellow car or also this gray line, it should be show affected. It means its one life should be reduced. For that I'm going to choose again the if condition. And here I want the two senses. One is the color senses and another one for the opponent car. For that I'm going to operator block and here I will choose the OR condition. And here I will put the OR condition and now I am going to choose the sensing block. First for the touch basis. Touch what? It's going to touch the car 1 which is our opponent car. I can change the naming of this car. I'll make it opponent car. Yes. On the basis of that we can select over here, so it's mentioned opponent car. And next one I want the touch the color senses. For that I'm going to use this color senses block and the color I'm going to specify as per this color which I'm choosing. For that I'm going to choose pick color and I'll select this gray line. And on the basis of that what should happen, the broadcast message which we have created here, if you remember, that is affected one. For that I'm going to choose it broadcast affected. For that I'm going to event block and what I'm going to broadcast over here, it affected. I also want to change my backdrop when my score reached to 50. For that I'm going to choose again if condition and here I want to set my score. For that I'm going to choose operator block, make it 50 and variable score 50. Which backdrop should be show? For that the backdrop should be show you did it. Yes. You can see when the score reached to 50 it should be show you did it and everything should be stopped that time. You can see when I'm going to click on the green flag and here when if I try to touch to the gray line, you can see the heart is not reducing. Here we have set it show the affected, but what should happen? The heart should be reduced. For that we need to set the costume according to the car going to touch to the line. I want whenever it receive affected. If it is received affected, first of all it should back to the same position from where it start. That is X value 0 and Y value -120. I'm going to motion block and here I will set its position first and that should be 0 -120 and change the lifeline by -1 means the life should be reduced. I want when the life is should reduce, it should be blink for a few seconds so you can easily visualize the car is affected and one life is gone. For that I use the hide and show looks, hide block, then afterwards wait for 0.1 second and then afterwards show and then afterwards again wait for 0.1 second and this thing I will repeat twice. I'm going to duplicate this and I will place it over here, same thing. Now you'll see the result. When I'm going to try to touch the grey lines, see the effect. And your one life is reduced. Right? It's working very nice. Oh wow. Now you can see the coding for our racing car is also done. Isn't it interesting? Yes. Now the last one is our opponent car. Here it's very simple. It should be removed to the random position. It can appear anytime, and for that when the car hit to that, it should show the effect. It's very simple. It can come from any position randomly, and on the basis of that it should appear and disappear. And when it reaches to this side, again it come back from the top side. For this, first I'm going to event block, and also I want to set the speed. For this, it should be 0. Take the set block, and here I'll set the speed, that should be 0. Now in the next one, I'll make it one position. I'm going to fix it. I want whenever it's appear from the top, and its x value might be anything you can take. Like I will take the y value should be 180, and x value you can choose as per your wish. I'll make it minus 60, and here I'll choose 180. When I just click on the green flag, its position should be here. Like you can see, I'll set this position. Okay, you can choose anyone from this side to this side, any position you can choose. Now I'm going to choose the forever block and set the change value of y. Here I will choose change y by speed, because it should be changed according to speed. Same thing for this. If here the y value is more than minus 35, again it should going to be hide and come from the top position and the random time. I'll choose the operator block, greater sign. Here I will choose the y position till what? Till minus 135, and it should be going to hide. And there I will choose hide. It should take a pause because we want it should come suddenly. For that I'm going to choose the wait block, and it should be pick random. In 1 to 3 seconds it can come anytime. Again back on the track. Any 1 to 3 seconds it can come back, and then again it's going to show. For that I'm using the show block, and the position also should be random. For that I'm again going to choose the motion block, and here I will choose the x and y axis, and it should be pick random in x axis. Y axis is fixed, that is coming from the 180, but the x axis it can change. For that I'm going to choose pick random, and here I will set the value from minus 70 to 70. Now you can see the effect. Oh, I forgot one more coding. Okay, let's again go back to the backdrop. Here I want to set when I receive you did it, that game should be stop. For that I'm going to choose event block, and here I will receive when I receive you did it. The costume look should be changed. Use the switch backdrop to what? It should be you did it, and everything should be stop. I will choose a control block and use stop all. Now I'll see the result. Okay, we'll see on big screen. Let's enjoy the game. Okay. Oh, I saved it. Oh my god. It's coming any side. Okay. Oh my. Oh. One time I touch. Oh my god. Oh, 2 times. Only 1 life left. Game over. You want to do it again? Okay. This car is coming from any side. Oh my god. My heart, one heart lost. Oh, 30, 35. Oh my god. Oh my god, only 1 life left. Oh no. Oh, finally, I reached my 50 score. Do you want to make this game? I hope you enjoy that. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so you will not miss the latest update. For the more information, you can visit our website codexacademy.com. With this note, we conclude the session. We'll see you in next session. Bye-bye.